Question number 12, Sue Moroney.
Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister. What changed between Wednesday last week, when his Minister of Education refused to rule out funding cuts to Playcentre, and the next day, when he did rule out cuts?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I do not agree with the member's assertion. Last week, the Minister of Education reiterated that this government values parent-led services like Playcentre. The government has put $1.4 billion into early childhood education, the most of any government ever spent on ECE. It's expanded 23 hours, including Playcentre. It's made sure the regulations that guide early childhood services are amended, and Playcentres are getting over $14 million in funding this year.
Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, it was a very direct question, one which had been properly authenticated with you through your office as to whether or not the Minister had to refuse to rule out cuts. Mr Speaker, my question to you is whether the Prime Minister should answer the question about what had changed between when that happened in the House on Wednesday and Thursday when he did.
I think the members just at the last moment there made the pertinent point, and that is the question asked what changed between Wednesday last week, etc., and the Prime Minister said nothing changed. And that's his answer to that question. He explained, and then he went on to explain why he has that view. But it was an answer to the question. You know, the question asked what changed, and the Prime Minister said nothing changed. Point of order, Sue Moroney.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. During that question that was asked in the House Wednesday last week, I sought your interpretation of the Minister's answer, and your interpretation was that she was in fact refusing to rule out the funding cuts to Playcentre.
The relevant issue, though, is the question asked what changed. That's what the question actually asks. The rest of the question identifies in relation to what. And the Prime Minister, in his wisdom, has argued that nothing changed. And I can't dispute the Prime Minister's answer in that regard. Sue Moroney,
supplementary question. Why did it take him so long to rule out proposed funding cuts for Playcentre, given that Labour leader Phil Goff called on the government to rule them out as early as July the 19th?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, this will come as a shock to the member, but I don't take my writing instructions from Phil Goff. And secondly, Mr Speaker, the member asked an interesting question. What changed between Wednesday and Thursday? Can I just take a moment to read out what the Minister said on Wednesday? And I quote, "While the task force recommended a change in the funding system, we have, quote, no intention of doing anything that will disadvantage the parent-led sector." That was Wednesday last week.
Sue Moroney. Order. I've called Sue Moroney.
Supplementary question to the Prime Minister. Will he now rule out funding cuts proposed by the task force for 20 hours early childhood education, which will cost thousands of families an extra $50 per child per week if implemented? Will he rule that out?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, the government's position is it will be maintained in 23 hours.
Sue Moroney.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Sue Moroney. Order. A point of order has been called. Order. Sue Moroney.
The question that I asked was specific. Will he rule out the funding cuts proposed by the task force for 20 hours ECE? And I didn't hear an answer to whether he was ruling out the funding cuts proposed by the task force for 20 hours ECE.
Well, the Prime Minister's answer was the government would be maintaining the 20 hours. And the member still... Actually, no, the member doesn't. That was the member's last supplementary, wasn't it? There's one more? Well, the member does have a further supplementary then to pursue that particular issue.
Supplementary question.
Order. Sue Moroney.
To the Prime Minister, does he stand by the answer that he gave to the last question, that he is committing to keeping the same subsidies for 20 hours free early childhood education and the same fee controls in place for 20 hours free early childhood education?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister. And that brings to a close questions for oral answer.
Thank you.
I call on Government Orders of the Day number